Hello, this is Nicole with Angelic Therapy and Healing. So we are going to be doing something a little different. Instead of doing your typical weekly readings, we're actually going to do a monthly reading for September for each sign. Hopefully that will help kind of dive into some specifics that are happening with you and your situation at this time to get you some more detailed information particular to you. Do keep in mind this is a general reading. It is for a lot of people. So you might find there's only one or two messages for you. When I do these readings, I do pray, prepare, shuffle. I do ask that each of you receive at least one message, but it is good to keep in mind it is for a large audience. And if you find that not much is resonating with your sun sign, go ahead and listen to your moon or your rising. You might be able to get some information from those as well. And if you're still finding there's only a few messages, that's good. That means things aren't too bad. So I would be thankful for that. Now, for those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. Glad to have you here. If you don't know much about me, I survived a bombing in Afghanistan. And at that time, my spiritual gifts were opened up, like blasted open up. I am clairaudient. I hear Jesus and the angels talk to me. I'm a medium. I'm an empath. I am certified by Doreen Virtue. I have a couple certificates by her. I am a quantum touch energy medicine practitioner. For those of you that aren't familiar, it's a healing modality. So like in a 3-hour healing session, and I give all the credit to God, a 3-hour healing session, I've had hundreds of people healed of cancer, multiple sclerosis, even like hip replacements, and down to things that are less severity, like healing broken bones, healing torn tendons, whatever it is, it can be taken care of with quantum touch. So welcome. You can read more about me. I'm not going to go into any more details, but there is an About Me section on my webpage. Feel free to check that out. For those of you that have been here for a while, thank you. Glad to have you continuing to return. Thank you for your subscriptions, your comments. Thanks for sharing these videos. I do love hearing how these are helping you. So even though I can't respond to all of you, continue sending the comments my way. I do love reading them. Now, for those of you that are going to be asking about sessions or readings, I'm still not accepting new clients because I am booked out quite a bit in advance with current clients, but please stay tuned. As soon as my retirement is finalized, I will then open up for new clients. It should be happening in the very, very near future. I will announce it in these readings. So as soon as it's announced, then you will be able to go online and book appointments. So we are going to do a little educational bit, and actually this is going to be the same intro for every single sign. So if you do go and listen to your moon or rising, you can skip past this part. I know a lot of you are going to skip past this anyhow, but I would encourage you to stay because it is going to help you kind of understand what's going on right now with the energy. So as we all know, the energy is extremely intense right now. It has been for most of the year, but especially since we had the eclipse on August 21st. And it's, as you notice, everyone's like, oh, why hasn't it settled down? Because it's starting to ramp up even more. And it's going to continue like this all the way through the end of September. Many of you know that on September 23rd, there is going to be that Revelations 12 sign. If you are not familiar, there are a bunch of videos on YouTube. Just go to watch whichever one you are guided to watch, and you'll be able to get some information on that. The 144,000 should all be sealed by September 23rd. And what you're going to find is things are going to start to ramp up even more than they are. So if you've not done any research yet, there is this Schumann resonance, and it's the Earth's heartbeat. Essentially what it is, the Earth has a frequency, and it's an interplay with our electromagnetic field. Essentially, it's the pulses of energy between the Earth's surface and our ionosphere. And for years and years and years, the Earth's resonance heartbeat was at 7.83 hertz. And what they noticed in 2014 is that it began increasing. And 7.83, if you think of it, it's kind of like an alpha theta, like a dream state. You're very calm, you're very relaxed. Once it gets over 16.5, that's kind of like, actually over 15, it's kind of like an awakened calm. So like an awakening, spiritual awakening. And that is why a number of people have been going through all this awakening stuff. It's been particularly intense for millions of people since 2014, and it's continued to increase. They found that in 2017, it had jumped to over 36 plus hertz. And once you get over 36, it's kind of like there's this nervousness and anxiety in people's brain versus that calm, healthy state. But what that does is that starts to change our DNA. That starts to bring in more of God's light. It pushes out the dark. And we see that every day. We see these things happening, and we're kind of shocked that these things are happening in our world right now. But in order to fill things with more light, with more love, you have to get rid of the dark. And you got to push the dark out so it comes to the surface, so we get to see more of it. Now, on a personal level, what's happening for us is that's forcing all of us to release our own individual darkness, our karma. We have to release those things. We have to learn those lessons. We have to heal those things. That's why we've been under such intense pressure and being pushed, kind of like in a pressure cooker that's about to bubble over, because there's just so many things being pulled from our lives, released from our lives, let go. But that is because we're being filled with more light, more of God's light, love, coming into a state of unconditional love. To come into that state, we can't hold on to the darkness anymore. We can't hold on to people that aren't meant for us. We can't hold on to situations that aren't meant for us. All those things that do not serve us, all those things that are not of love, of unconditional love, and even down to not loving ourselves, that all has to go. Has to be released, has to be healed. Lessons have to be learned, things have to be let go of. And that's prepare us for things that are to come. And it's all this big awakening that we're going through, this ascension process. And there's a lot of ascension symptoms and things that you go through. There's actually a guy that does YouTube videos. I don't often have time to watch his videos, but when I do, he's got really good videos. And I think he posts one per day. But if you want to check him out, I'll put a link to his YouTube channel below. His name is Victor Odo, and he talks about the ascension process. And he gives tips and pointers and things that you can do to ground yourself, to release things, because there's a lot that you can do. I mean, if you're struggling, because a lot of people have been struggling since the 21st. They've had a lot of ailments, conditions, headaches, rashes, all types of things popping up. Tonight, fill your tub, fill it up with some water, put some Epsom salt in there, and soak in the tub for 20 minutes. That will release those physical toxins, that will release those emotional toxins, that will help you get to feeling better. Anytime you feel these things bubble up, that's because you're releasing things. And in order to speed that up, soak in the tub, go see a healer, walk outdoors in nature. You know, for some it's also changing diet, but there's things that you can do to help this, help your system quickly release it. And he does cover those things in his videos. Now, you will find, because a lot of you, again, since the eclipse, you've had just a lot of intense energy, weird things happening with your body, headaches that won't go away. A lot of you are kind of feeling like anxious, like, oh my gosh, something's about to happen. I don't know what's about to happen, but I'm a little anxious. I don't know why. That's because things are going to be continuing to accelerate. Clear up until September 23rd. Now, with the whole ascension process, it's still going to be intense after that, but you will get a bit of a breather. So once we get into October, you get to take a deep breath, kind of calm down a little bit. But it is in preparation for things that are to come. So I'm going to share some information, and don't be worried about this information. It's all good. It's all bringing us to a better place. It's not something to freak out about. But when you read the Bible and you look at that, what it talks about in the Bible, like the rapture, that is true. These things we are going to see in our lifetimes, those of us that are here right now. And again, it's not something to fear. But what we're doing is we're preparing essentially for, if you look at it, it's kind of like the earth is going to be splitting into two. So there will be like this new earth. There's actually some videos out there. Dolores Cannon, she did hypnosis sessions, and people were always talking about this new earth, this split. And many of the things that she shares in her videos are true. Now, not everything, but many things are. So what I would recommend is check out some of her videos. You know, pray, ask that your angels and God and Jesus, ask that they come and they help you discern what is true and what is not. And ask that they help fill in some blanks for you. Because you'll find if you ask that, you will know immediately something that's resonating with you that, yeah, that is true, that is spot on. You'll know what is not, and they will fill in the blanks for you. But you do have to pray and ask that they do that beforehand. But what's described in the Bible. And actually, if you look at, you know, religious texts and look at them, there's actually bits and pieces from different parts, because, you know, Jesus was a Jew. He actually was an Essene. The Essenes are the foundation of Christianity. It kind of all grew and evolved from there. But what it talks about with that, you know, going to be going through the rapture process, things are going to appear that are like that. Now, the severity of things that do occur as we're going through these changes do hinge off of where we are as a collective. You know, we can make things not as bad. We can make things worse. It depends on whether we're coming from a place of love or whether we're coming from a place of fear, where we're all coming from too, and what we're contributing to that. But we are going to get to a state in this split where millions of people are going to disappear. What is going to appear for the people that are on old Earth is that, you know, they'll wake up, because it will happen in an instant, in the twinkling of an eye, and just millions of people will be gone. And those that are going to be gone, those are going to be the people that believe. They believe in God. They believe in Jesus. Not to delve too deeply into texts and things to look at in scriptures and stuff, but I encourage all of you as we go through this to do your own research, look at things and see what really truly resonates with your heart and soul. Because what you'll find is you'll learn a lot, and you'll find that these things are going to resonate with you. Because when you watch, like, you know, Dolores Cannon, she did these hypnosis sessions, and they're coined QHHT sessions. When you watch those, you'll find a lot of people, when they talk about the new earth, when they are asked, like, what's required to get to the new earth, they always, you know, they'll say that, you know, they have to believe. They have to believe in God. They have to believe. That's true. Now, when you look at Jesus, when Jesus was here, again, he was born Jewish, he was an Essene, but he loved everyone. It didn't matter the color of your skin. It didn't matter what your religious upbringing was. He traveled around. He loved everyone. He was here as a savior, a Messiah for everyone here on earth. Everyone, all of us, every single one of us. And it's interesting, because when I do healing sessions, and you know, I'm a seer as well. Oftentimes when I'm doing them, I'll see what my clients are physically wearing on the other side of the world while I'm working on them. But when I'm doing these healing sessions, and, you know, it might be my client or someone doing soul contract cancellations with or whatever, the moment that Jesus comes into the scene, because when I'm doing these sessions, Archangel Michael's always there, Archangel Raphael's usually there, but sometimes Jesus will come in during the session, and the moment that he enters, the client, their family members, whomever else is there, all of them will immediately drop to the ground and bow down to him, because he emulates that power. Jesus is power. He is the light. He is the light that will snuff out the darkness. And he truly is. Like, if you look at near-death experiences, when people have a God come in that they meet, that they get to experience, it's always Jesus. And I encourage you to try it for yourself, actually. Because, again, we're all supposed to learn. We're not supposed to just blindly believe things that we're told. You know, we're even taught that, you know, in the biblical texts. We're supposed to learn. We're supposed to discern. We are supposed to dig. We're also supposed to ask, and we will receive the guidance and information. Not to trust what others are giving us, not to be deceived. So many of you, because you are going through this ascension process, many of you are actually under psychic attack right now. There is a spiritual war going on between light and dark. So many of you are being attacked by darker entities. You know that because you're having bad dreams, or, you know, your animals or your kids are just fighting all the time. It's like there's a lot of this anger and hatred in your home. Or maybe you're tripping when you're at the house, and it's kind of like you feel like someone pushed you or shoved you, or you accidentally cut yourself and you're like, I wasn't even doing it. It's almost like something else did it to you. Or maybe in your dreams you're getting red eyes, or you're having a really lot of dark dreams, and they're kind of scary and worrisome. When you're experiencing those things, that's because something dark is in your home. It's very easy to remove those things. Now, you can, in your own power, command that person to leave, that entity to leave. You can call upon any higher power that you want to. You can say in their name for it to leave. What you will find is that entity will not leave. However, when you command it to leave in the name of Jesus and you call on God and Jesus to help you and you command it in the name of Jesus to leave, you'll find that you and your family get instant relief, that it's gone. And that's something I encourage clients to do right away because, you know, I'll talk with clients, they'll be like, oh my gosh, all these bad things are happening and I don't know how to stop it. And when I recommend that they try that, suddenly the dark stuff's gone. Suddenly their kids are getting along. Suddenly their animals are getting along. Suddenly they're not tripping and hurting themselves anymore because there is power in the name of Jesus and it's gone. But you, again, don't have to believe me. Try it yourself. See how it works. Now, I know I've shared in some other videos that last September I was falling asleep and there was this, it was as though someone was standing outside of my bedroom playing a trumpet. Now, it's interesting because in, you know, Jewish, there's different, you know, feasts that they have. They have feasts of trumpets, then these are very important points when you look at things that have happened worldwide that are big, that have been, you know, foretold in our theological religious texts, not just Christianity. They happen on a Jewish feast because that's how God times things. That's how Jesus times things. And so we were around one of the feasts and I hear like someone, it's as though literally standing outside my bedroom window playing a trumpet. And then within a couple days, I was unloading my car, I was outside and all of a sudden I heard this like a horse and it literally blew on my neck and jumped, it made me jump and I was startled. And it was Jesus on this white horse and he told me to not be afraid and he told me that it's time to prepare, it's time to start preparing. Now, if you're familiar, Jesus on a white horse, when he returns on a white horse. So, and you can research that and check that out, but there are things that are about to occur, that are about to happen. So, like some may have noticed, like we've had a lot of people passing away the past 2-3 years. And like people that are young, totally unexpected, and it's been a lot of people. Like, you know, in our lifetimes, we've never seen anything like this until recently. That's going to continue into early 2018. That's because our loved ones, they know what's about to come. They want to witness it from the other side. They don't want to get to experience it with us. They will be with us. They will be helping us. They're just going to be doing it from the other side. They're going to let us have the experience. And that's why there have been so many of them passing on, because they have made that choice to not be on this side for everything. Now, again, it's not something to be afraid of. But what will happen is these people who believe, they will disappear. They'll be on this new earth. Now, that new earth, I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of details about that, but maybe at some point we'll do some down the road when they tell me it's time, we'll do some educational video about that. But essentially, people will be there for about 1,000 years. Eventually, essentially, it's like the returning to Garden of Eden. And over that time, over that 1,000 years, people's bodies will evolve into light bodies. So then it will eventually evolve to the point that, you know, people are there, but they're not physical bodies. So we'll talk about that more later. Simultaneously, around that same time, what will happen is these people will disappear, and that's going to be millions. Because a lot of people think that they're going to be left behind because, you know, the Bible states only 144,000 will be ascending. No, millions of people. People who are believers are going to just boop, disappear. Almost at that exact time, immediately following the disappearance within minutes, the 144,000 will ascend. And those that are here on old earth will physically see them ascending. And what they're going to see is they're going to see Jesus on a white horse. They're going to see his army of angels behind him, and they're all on white horses. And those 144,000 that are going to ascend, they are angels incarnated. They're physically in human bodies right now, but they will be ascending. They are part of God's army. And that's going to be kind of like the final throwdown with the dark. But once that's all done, and that's going to be very swift and quick. I mean, if you look at human times, it's going to be something that's going to happen in under an hour. It's going to be very, very fast. And then those 144,000 will meet their families on the new earth. And it will seem like they weren't even gone. It'll seem like, you know, seconds. But it's not anything to fear. You really don't have anything to fear and worry about. I mean, if you look at it, if you're listening to this video, you're preparing to go to New Earth. You're experiencing all these ascension systems. all these ascension symptoms, you're preparing. Your system's changing, your body's changing. You are preparing to make that change, make that leap. That's a beautiful thing. And when you look at it, I mean, it's been a struggle for us because we've had to lose friends, we've had to lose lovers, we've had all these things taken out of our life. But that's because those things aren't good for us. And we're going to a place that's filled with love and bliss and joy and unconditional love. Those things were not of unconditional love, so they're not meant to go with us. That's why we have to let them go. You can even find that you're having very positive experiences. Like maybe you have, I was talking with a friend and, we were having a conversation about how, you can be driving the same path as someone else to work at the same time. And maybe you don't experience any traffic and you don't experience any car accidents. It's like easy breezy. You're hitting every green light. You're like, this day is amazing, best ever. But then you talk to your friend who drove the same time, the same route, and they experienced nothing but stop traffic, red lights, car accidents. It was a horrible drive to work for them. That's because you're starting to see the split. The split's starting to already occur. So some of us are having really good positive experiences. Some of us are not having such good experiences. The split's starting to occur. And that's why now is the time to prepare. It's time to prepare spiritually, it's time to prepare mentally, it's time to prepare physically. And what that really means to us is it's time to stop the distractions. The angels have been talking nonstop in all of our videos the past couple months is stop the distractions, stop the multiple relationships, the rebounds, the drugs, the addictions, the behaviors that aren't, in your highest good. If you're supposed to be, because those of us that have things that we still need to let go of that we're like clinging tightly to, we know what it is that we're being guided to do and let go of. We know that. It is time to do those things that we're being guided to do. So if you're being guided to let go of an ex or a partner or a job or even a diet change, whatever it is that you're being guided to do that. Because so many of us, because the things that we're still holding on to, we're holding on to it out of fear. We are terrified to let that person go, that thing go, because that's been, that's been constant for us. That's been, even though it's not been happy, it's been stability for us. It's been comfort for us. We don't want to venture into the unknown, but that is the one thing that is not meant for us. It's not good for us. We know that. But instead of dealing with that, many of us have turned to other relationships, or we've turned to alcohol, or we've turned to drugs, or we've turned to pornography, or we've turned to anything and everything that will keep us off of doing what we're meant to do, keep us from having those conversations, keep us from ending those ties, keep us from signing the paperwork. But the time has come to do those things because they're trying to bring us back to a state of unconditional love. They're trying to bring us to a state of loving ourselves, loving others. They're bringing us into a state of wholeness. We can't be whole and happy with this baggage we keep lugging around. We have got to let the baggage go because we're drowning. We've been struggling to tread water for a while, and it's drowning us. So we've got to let that dead weight go. And what you will find this weekend, if you happen to listen to this, the first weekend of September, for those of us in the United States, you'll be celebrating Labor Day. But it'll be this weekend all the way through the full moon that we're going to be having this first week of September. It's going to be intense. You're going to feel some of that intensity that you felt around the eclipse. That's because they're hitting us to release those things that don't serve us. So, like maybe you're noticing a repeated theme. Like something keeps happening over and over and over, but you're clinging to something you know you need to let go of. It's time to let go because you can't take that with you. You can't take that person with you. So maybe you started, dating someone else. Maybe there's an ex you're supposed to be letting go of. And, you've not let that ex go because maybe you think it's going to change, or maybe there's money worries, or you're afraid of going into the unknown. Or it could be that like your family relies, and I'm not talking your kids because you still get to take care of your children. You need to keep taking care of your children, but I'm talking about like maybe their family counts on you, their siblings or something, or maybe there's like some community connection with them and you don't want to let them down. But for some reason, if you boil it down though, it's fear. You continue to hold on to them. But maybe you're not talking with them at this point. You've not ended the final ties. So while you're sitting in this place of limbo, knowing that you're to release that ex, and you haven't, not wanting to deal with it, you start jumping into other relationships, and maybe you jump into a rebound relationship, but you're discovering that that rebound is a lot like your ex. You know, maybe they are very manipulative, or maybe they really try and nag you into doing things or push you to do things, or maybe they're trying to push you to quickly commit, or they could be like a me person, self-centered, it's all about them. Or they make you feel bad in order to get you to do something that they want you to do. And you feel kind of like, dang, this is like my ex. I feel like I've jumped back into my ex. That's because it's a repeated pattern. You are seeing the same attributes and characteristics of your ex because you have not released your ex. You have not released that karma. You have not learned that lesson. So it's ramping up. It's ramping up because it's time to let that person go. So this weekend through the full moon, this next week, many people are going to have some huge breakthroughs, some big epiphanies, some ahas. That is meant to help you let go of that fear that is keeping you from taking that leap of faith, that final step of clearing that karma, releasing that person, releasing that situation, because the time has come. And we've been pushed to do this for a couple years, because what you'll find is essentially the way the planets are going to be aligned at this time is the same way they were aligned during the eclipse in 2015. So some of you were being pushed to release the exact same thing or person 2 years ago in August 2015. But what happened is you did not want to let go. You're like, oh, hell no. I'm going to hold on. I'm going to hold on with both hands. I'm going to cling with both legs. I'm going to drag on their leg because I'm not letting them go. This is my plan. I'm sticking to it. I refuse to release it or release them. But you clung on. So for some of you, say it was a love interest. You know, in the fall, heading into the winter of 2015, you decided to, maybe you proposed to them, maybe you remarried them, maybe you married them, maybe you stopped divorce proceedings, or it could be maybe you stayed at that job. But instead of letting go, you went the opposite direction. You clung out of fear. For many of us, the exact same thing we were to release in 2015 is boiling back up. And many of you have seen that same exact situation bubble up recently, and you're really going to see it bubble up this week because it's out of fear that you're clinging on to it or clinging on to them. The time has come. It is time to let them go. It is time to let the situation go. We are really being pushed to take that leap of faith, take that plunge, release the fear, release them. We're also going to be pushed to deal with the things that we keep ignoring. So maybe we don't want to deal with it because it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation or a difficult conversation, or it's going to be, you know, outside of our norm, outside of our comfort zone. So we're like, oh gosh, I just don't want to deal with that. I just can't deal with that right now. I'd rather just keep burying my head in the sand or burying my head in someone else instead of having to deal with it. It's coming to a culmination point where it has to be dealt with. That's why we have been under so much intense pressure now for a couple years, because we have to release it. We have to let it go. We can't go to the new earth. We can't go through this ascension stuff that's about to happen until we release these people, these situations, this karma. If you look at it, an easy way to look at it is to sit down and think, okay, what was I supposed to learn from this person? Because if you look at it, or situation, typically there's something that you were to learn to love yourself unconditionally. Because if we love ourselves unconditionally, we won't allow people to treat us that way. We won't allow them to make us feel as though we are less than. We will establish healthy boundaries. We will not tolerate a job where we are not respected and valued. But we have to love ourselves. But instead of getting so wound up in emotions, if we can separate and look at it, and also pray, God, Jesus, angels, help me. What was I supposed to learn from this? Because as soon as you realize what you were supposed to learn, suddenly you don't have the emotions, you don't have the desire to cling to them anymore. You're like, okay, deuces. Deuces, learned it, don't want to go through this anymore. I'm tired of this crap. And for those of you that have found a rebound that they're the exact same as an ex, you'll be done with them too. Because you're like, no, I deserve better than that. I am worthy of better than that. I am so worthy of so much better. And I've now figured out what I was supposed to learn, and I'm done with it. But the time to do that is now. Because you can't take them with you. And you don't want to be stuck here because you can't release the fear. You can't release those worries. You can't come back to a state of loving yourself unconditionally. That's why we're all being pushed. It's gotten so intense for all of us. But for those of us that have released things, congratulations, because those of you that have released those big karmic things, yeah, the eclipse was still, it was intense for everybody. It was still intense. It might have bothered you a little bit, but you weren't depressed. You weren't having panic attacks. You were just kind of breezing through it. Congratulations. You have released your big lessons, your karma. You are prepared. You are ready. For those of you that are not, use this time to let it go, to sit down, and also to face your emotions, because for some of you, they're saying you don't want to deal with it because you do not want to face your emotions. You don't want to share them. You don't want to acknowledge that you have them. You don't want to open up. You don't want to be honest. You don't want to be honest with yourself. You don't want to be honest with others. This is the time to do that. Let those walls down. Take your mask off. It will be worth it. And for those of you that are fearing the conversations, they're not going to be as difficult as you think they will be. Because if it's meant to be, if it's a conversation to let someone or something go, it's going to go real easy, and you're going to release that instantaneously because you have so much support on the other side. And also on the flip side, if it's a conversation for someone that you're meant to bring into your life or something that you're meant to do, that's going to go really easy too. Because sometimes we beat ourselves up because we think, oh, I really messed that up real bad. That's not going to happen. Don't have those fears. Just, you have an entire team helping you. Ask that they help you. Because again, the thing to keep in mind, our angels cannot help us unless we ask for their help. Because we have free will. The only time they will ever step in without us asking is if it's life or death. If it's not our time to go, they're going to step in and keep us here. But other than that, they will facepalm all day long and wonder, why won't you ask? We can help you. We can make it easier. Just ask for their help. They will make it easy. It'll be a breeze. Because if you had nothing but heartache and trials and tribulations and blocks and headaches this whole time, you know what you're being guided to do. You got this whole team behind you that's going to help you execute it and make those changes. Let them help you. Ask them. They help you do that this week. It'll be worth it. And then you'll find that you're not going to be stuck in this little hell any longer, because for those of you that have clung on, it's been a pretty miserable 2 years. Aren't you ready for things to get better? For things to get better, it's time to stop the distractions, do what you're being guided to do. Because when you've released that person, situation, that karma, you have learned that lesson, you will be back to a state of loving yourself. You will not feel bad about making choices that are good for you. You will not allow someone to control and dominate you. You will set healthy boundaries, and you'll just come back into a state of bliss, of happiness, where life's easy, where you're that person who's driving down the road and you've got every green light and you're listening to your favorite song and you're getting a little dance party going on in your car. You're like, life is so good. Thank you for this. Life is good. To come back to a state of loving life and loving every minute of it and knowing that life is good, you got to do your work. But it's not going to be as hard as you think. So they're there. Let them help you. Do that. Use this time, use this energy, use your team, and just do it already. Get her done. And then get back to your happy, because they're ready to bring you some happy. Okay, so I know that was long, and I'm going to do each of your signs and astrological readings. So just know that however long this is right now, you're just going to get to skip past this on each of them. I will put it at the beginning of each one. And let's go ahead and get started with your monthly astrological readings. Hello, Gemini. Okay, let's go ahead and get started, see what's going to be happening for you in the month of September. For those who are interested in the cards that we are using today, we're pulling from Doreen Virtue's Fairy Tarot cards, as well as her Mother Mary, Queen of Angels, Oracle cards, Archangel Michael cards, and also Colette Baron Reed's Wisdom of the Oracle cards. I've also prayed over, shuffled my Sibillas, my Lenormands, and my my Sibillas, my Lenormands, and my Findicicles. Sorry, it's getting late. It's getting late, but I'm still pushing through to see if I can get these all done. Okay. Make sure you can see those. Just had some dinner, so you won't have to hear my belly grumble. Happy belly, happy girl. Okay. So let's see, what do we have going on, Gemini? Okay. Well, first off, you do have 2 major arcanas. So, which are here. And major arcanas, those are things that they're fated, they're destined, they're watched over and controlled by the heavens. We don't really have that much control when it comes to major arcanas. We do, however, have more control when it comes to the minors or the pips. So you're 50-50. Now, what you have is the situation, the foundation, which could have led to the situation. You have what is blocking you, what is unknown, and then 3 cards across the top are what the angels are recommending you do this month. Now, for your situation, you have the moon. And at the bottom, it says powerful intuitive epiphanies, letting go of worry and fear, understanding the truth of the situation. And the moon, show the moon a couple cards. The moon is all about things that are hidden, really not seeing things clearly, because you know in the moon we can go out when there's a full moon, but we're really not able to see stuff that clear. I mean, it illuminates things a little bit because it's reflecting the sun back to us, but things are kind of shadowy. Things are kind of hidden. We don't really have full clarity. And you've been getting a lot of signs and information about the truth of the situation, about what your next steps are, that you've also been receiving information that things are not what they seem, that, you know, you're seeing things in one way, but they're actually a different way. Because if you look in this card, she's playing one instrument, but if you look in where the water is reflecting, it's a totally different instrument. So you're seeing things one way, but they're really not that way. And it's causing you a lot of worry. It's causing you a lot of fear, angst, and all of that's not necessary. Because things in your situation, they really are not what they seem to be. There's some hidden information. There are things that you are not aware of. So all this worry and fret that you're causing yourself is for naught. Now it's surrounding love for most of you, because the foundation, what has led to that, you have Queen of Summer. And traditional tarot, this will be cups. Cups are all about emotion. And this is the Queen. So for many of you, this is you. You're the Queen of Cups. You're the Queen of Summer. And it says loving, comforting, emotional, intuitive. And at the bottom, it says listen to your heart, intuitive insights you can trust, taking care of others perhaps too much. Now, Gemini, you are air, but cups, they're water signs. So, you know, Scorpios, Cancer, Pisces, but water signs, they're always very intuitive. They're in touch with their emotions. And that's where you are this month, Gemini. You are the Queen of Summer. But you see here, she's very beautiful. She's regal. She's serene. She's calm. She's radiating love, peace. You've got sunflowers. Sunflowers are all about love, joy. She's got all these fairies floating around her. She's also highly intuitive. So it's kind of like she reads your mind. She, you know, can understand things, especially your heart and thoughts a little deeper than you. But she's very loving. She's very tenderhearted. She's very compassionate, caring. Sometimes she will give too much, that she feels, you know, exhausted because maybe she's given more than what she's receiving. So, you know, sometimes a challenge for the Queen of Summers is to practice coming into balance. But I get that for a number of you, your love life is out of balance because you're perceiving things not accurately. So for some of you, it could be you think you've been lied to. You think that your partner, your spouse has deceived you. They've hidden information from you. You see how she's kind of like looking off to the side and and she's got her hand on her hip like, oh, really? Come on. Tell me the lie again. And kind of like a, I just don't believe you. And it's kind of dark and shadowy around her, and the clouds are red. So for some of you, there's been some arguments with your partner, with your spouse, with your lover, because of things that you believe that are occurring, You're very sad, you're very upset, you're angry about that, you're worrying about that, you're fretting about that. But what you think is occurring, so for some of you, you may think your spouse is cheating, but they're not. They're not doing the things that you think that they're doing. You think they're being some sly fox, but they're not. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay. What's blocking you? You have a major arcana. This is a beautiful card. This is the Star. At the bottom it says, look to the future with hope and optimism, the power of faith to move mountains, happy changes that bring relief from challenging times. But this is beautiful. It's all about our challenges fading away, being filled with hope and optimism, life actually being beautiful and magical, and bringing us the things that we desire. It also speaks about faith, because things are going to turn out beautifully, that you're going to have the star, you're going to have your dreams come true. It's also, you know, speaks of knowing what our next steps are. But you see how she's happy, she's looking over her shoulder, she's got all these stars and glitter, and things are just lighting up and things are illuminated. What's blocking you is things are not illuminated. You don't have the... You don't know all the details. You don't have the truth. It's not even that you've been lied to. It's as though you think you've been lied to. You think someone's pulling something over on you. You think that someone has not been faithful, in which it has your emotions all upset and all wrought. See all this water flying everywhere? Water signifies emotions. So you're just emotionally everywhere. You're all over the place. You're completely out of balance. And that is blocking you because you're not able to see things clearly. So you're not able to... So for some of you, it's almost like you're trying to decide what your next step is. And you're like, okay, some of you are actually thinking, okay, I've got to be done with this. This has got to be over. This isn't... It's like some of you think that this isn't working, things are being hidden from you, but that's not the case. You've lost your faith, you've lost your optimism, you've lost seeing this relationship as something magical, as something that's a blessing, as something that's a gift, as something that's like the star that lights your way, that fulfills you. But you're not optimistic about it. Now, what you are unaware of, you have 6 of Winter. And Winter, this is swords. This is really all about being stuck in our heads, stuck in our thoughts, spiraling around in circles. At the bottom, it says, positive changes are on their way, a welcome relief from troubled times, traveling or relocating. And this is about, you know, moving forward, moving into better times. You see, he's moving out of this cold, icy place. There's like little pieces of ice there, but moving into something better. Plotting our course for the future, beginning a new journey. Moving away from things that are troubling us, that are upsetting us. They're saying, some of you are thinking that this is saying that this relationship is going to end. It's not. It's not going to end. It's like some of you have gotten so stuck in worry and doubt and fear, and almost like finding your partner, your spouse, your lover at fault for something that they haven't done, which you're unaware of. You see how this is purple? And purple's all about transmutation, changing things. Things are going to change for the better, because you have this light at the end of this stick that he's holding. He's going to give you some illumination. He's going to clue you in on what's been happening. Also clue you in that he loves you, that he's committed, that he's loyal. It's interesting because when I was putting the cards down, they told me to flip the one deck over. So for a number of you, it's loyal heart. And you've got these 2 owls that are staring into each other's eyes. It's true love. You have true love. He's loyal to you. Now feel free to change the sex accordingly, because if it sounds like your situation, but you're a man, go ahead and feel free to change it. For a number of you, you are questioning his loyalty. You believe that he has been unfaithful, but that is not the case, and he is going to clear things up for you, reaffirm his love, get the both of you back on track, get you out of these cold, murky, argumentative waters that you have been in, and get things moving forward. Back to a place of happiness and optimism and positivity and love. Now, what's recommended for you, Gemini, this month is you have boundaries. Now it says, I am clear and honest with others about my expectations. And even this isn't what you think that it would be, because a lot of people think that this is immediately setting boundaries for people and not letting them cross. But that's not what they're talking about with this. What they're talking about is we're not victims. God doesn't create victims. We shouldn't be acting like we're victims. This is all about empowerment, self-empowerment, that it speaks about us not blaming others, be it passively or the way we try to share expectations or share our feelings, but really stepping into our power, standing up for ourselves, even if it does involve some confrontation. But, you know, it does mean maintaining your boundaries, but really from a place of love instead of a place of fear. So for some of you, because you've been hurt in past relationships. So say in a past relationship, you did have someone who was a sly, cheating, dishonest fox. You've got this fox on this egg. And they hurt you. You were deceived, you were lied to, they cheated on you, they broke your heart. And you've never really healed from that. But now you have this soulmate love, you have this divine love, you have this love that's the star. But there are some things happening that you just think, oh, he's not being honest, he's not being faithful, you're questioning him. You have set up boundaries for him, not because you've set up healthy boundaries, like, okay, I need you to respect me, I need balanced workload in the home. You know, I can't shoulder all the responsibility in the home, we need to share things. Those are kind of like healthy boundaries. But some of you have set so many boundaries up to the extreme. You have done it to box him in, to trap him, to cage him. And the second he does one thing wrong or one thing that appears to be wrong, you jump all up on his stuff. Why'd you do this? What's going on? But like accusing him of things that he's not done. Because again, things are not what they appear. Because of your past experiences, because of your perception, you are seeing things in a view that's not correct. And it's causing hardship in this marriage, this relationship. So when setting boundaries for yourself and others, set them in a healthy fashion. Set them in a way that's going to promote love and appreciation and also respect. Because with love, you do have to trust people. You can't completely cage them up. Because at some point, if you're doing that, you're really setting them up for failure. Because if they do one little thing, oh, that's it, I'm done with you. You've messed up. But that's not how we should treat someone that we love. Especially someone that is loyal. They are faithful. Which is what many of you are actually questioning, because the next card you have of what's recommended for September is to sit back and observe. You have this fox, he's sitting on top of this egg, he's looking up at the moon, and again, the moon signifies clarity, lack of clarity. You are not seeing things correctly. You do not have clear perception of what's really going on. So in September, just sit back and observe. Don't have doubts, don't have fears, don't have worries. Just observe it from a neutral perspective. Because what happens is we always look at things from our own perspective and our own personal lens. And any past experiences and things that we've gone through, that becomes how we perceive things, how we look at things. And unfortunately, that becomes a reality. So if we've had someone who was a cheating, sly fox and lied to us in the past, well, we're going to think if we haven't healed it and released it, we're going to think that everyone else in the future is like that. That's not the case. But for you to gain perspective, in order for you to heal this situation, because your marriage, your relationship is not going to fall apart, it is going to transform. But in order for it to transform, some of you need to turn down the heat that you're putting on your spouse. Really sit back, look at things from a neutral vantage point, instead of just looking at your own vantage point and your own thoughts and your own considerations and yourself, but really look at the conditions in a holistic fashion. Because some of you, you're having difficulty seeing the forest through the trees. You're so focused on this one thing, and it's just got you totally out of balance and upset. Your feelings are all jumbled up, and everything's kind of, for some of you, it's just getting out of control. There's been a lot of hurt, a lot of arguments, a lot of things said that didn't need to be said. So they're encouraging you, September, take a time out. Take a time out, calm down, step back, and just observe. Just take it in so that you can understand the situation. And then, so the two of you can have a conversation, you can get some clarity. Because you're not seeing things clearly. They're going to help you see things, help you get the truth. Now, the last card we have, this is not wanting to come up. Okay, but this is totally unrelated to the situation. So you have focus upon divine and perfect health. And at the bottom, God and Archangel Michael, thank you for continuously reminding me to focus upon perfect health and for guiding my actions so that they support my well-being. So this is really talking about, he's holding the staff for healing. He's got this instrument of music that can bring you to a state of happiness. So for many of you, you are experiencing some health issues, but the reason that you're experiencing health issues is because you are focusing on those things. You're focusing on not being well. Like, so for some of you, that's like your story. It's your story that you stick to. Like, you know, the way you start talking to people is, oh, this happened to me, and this happened to me, and oh, I'm in bad shape, and I've got this problem. Kind of like if you ever go to a nursing home where there's elderly, like the way they'll start talking to each other is to talk about all their ailments and conditions. That's how they identify themselves. Well, for some of you, that's how you are identifying yourself. But since you're identifying yourself that way as, oh, woe is me, I have this problem, that problem, this problem, this problem, you're creating more problems. If you want the health issues to go away, you need to speak to yourself and others as though you are in perfect health. And have those affirmations and not focus on fears. Because also when we're stuck in a place of fear, like we're always worried about something going wrong, we're always worried about something happening, we will see those things manifest in our body. So like with the work I do, you know, every time with every client, someday I will write a book, hundreds of clients, every disease, condition, ailment that we have is founded on some emotional experience, some hurt, some fear, some worry. The only time I've had clients where I've had a healing session, it's truly just been something that was going to be healed that was not related to emotional traumas and experiences, were broken bones, torn muscles, torn tendons, because someone fell or tripped. But everything else is tied to some emotional trauma, baggage, experience that we are holding on to instead of releasing. And all those things come from fear. So if we fear someone's not going to love us, you know, that fear can show, or maybe we've been cheated on someone. So say cheated on by someone. So say you're a woman and you've been, you know, cheated on by a man in this life or past life. You might have endometriosis. You might end up getting tumors in your breasts, particularly your right breast. It's all tied to your emotional experiences. So if you are not healing those emotional experiences, you are holding on to those emotional experiences, you will see it manifest in physical health problems with your body. And secondly, if you're always thinking, woe is me, and everything is bad, and everything is going wrong, you're also going to see that manifest in your body. But if you can shift that perspective, it's interesting. Louise Hay, she actually just passed away. She was diagnosed with cancer, and she very quickly realized the direct correlation between experiences, emotional traumas, and how those things manifest physically in our body. And she started doing positive affirmations, and within 6 months, she was completely healed of her cancer. So, for those of you that are having health issues, they're recommending you to stop identifying with all your health issues. Stop having that, because for some of you, that's also what you use with your partner, with your spouse, because you're like, oh, what was me? I need your help. I need this. But to empower yourself and not have those things, you fear that, okay, then I'll lose this. But you're not going to lose this because this is true love. But they're encouraging you to stop identifying as that. Start identifying as, I am healthy. I am whole. I am filled with life and vitality and health. And you will see your health shift. And if you have particular health issues, look up online, you know, spiritual cause of, you know, ulcers. A lot of times things that happen in the stomach is because, or the liver as well, is because we're holding on to anger. So people that have like liver issues, fatty liver or whatever issues with their liver, maybe their liver is not processing things. Maybe they, you know, start to get jaundice. Well, if they look at that, it's probably because they're storing a lot of anger. They could be angry with their parents, a childhood experience. They could be angry with a spouse. They could even be holding anger from a past life. But when they release that anger, that liver issue will go away. Their skin will not be yellow anymore. They won't have that problem. But if you're experiencing some health issues, Google it. Because say you're that liver person, and maybe you have anger because, you know, you feel like a spouse abandoned you. And you feel like, you know, you're not worthy of love. Your affirmation would be, you know, I am worthy of love. I am worthy of giving love. I am worthy of receiving love. I am enough. And if you start doing that affirmation daily, you'll find that it will start to heal you, and that the health issue, the anger, the core root issue of it will go away. So they're encouraging you to do that this month, because for some of you, it's as though your health issues are compounding because you have identified with that for so long, and because you have a number of health issues tied to emotional traumas in this life and past lives. So if you can, in September, focus on identifying yourself with health and healing those things, your health will turn around. Now we are going to we'll just quickly clarify these four. So we have the Donna Maritata. This is the wife, the married woman, someone that is very nurturing. We have the Lameno. This is marriage, nuptials, contract. And then we have the La Superbia. And hopefully you guys can see that. This is, you know, haughtiness, ostentation, vanity, arrogance, pride. And again, this is, what's the situation? The situation is the way you're seeing things is not the way things truly are. Yes, so for many of you, it is to do with your marriage. And less probably this could be, you know, also a man, because peacocks, the males, they're always way more colorful, and they're colorful to attract women. So for some of you, you think your spouse, that he's stepping out on your marriage. You think that he's cheating. You think that he's trying to attract other women, but he's not. He's looking toward you. He's looking towards your marriage, your connection. Now, Queen of Summer, we have Disperche, and this is worry, affliction, trouble, fret. We have the Casa, the home. And we have La Conversación, and it's conversations that are positive. And again, this is the foundation as to what's led to this. So for some of you, again, it's you're worried, you're fretting that your spouse, your partner, your lover has stepped out of the relationship. You're afraid that they're having conversations elsewhere, that they're looking elsewhere. But they're not. Allegrisa Allecore. This is happiness of the heart. There are two different types of happiness cards in this deck. This one is happiness of the heart. There is also happiness of family and home, but this is once it's about love. And then you have the Ammalato, the sick person with health problems. And then you have the Falsita. And the Falsita is all about lies, falseness, things that are hidden, things that are kept secret, deception. And again, this is what's blocking you. So you have this relationship that makes you happy, brings your heart happiness. But because you are worried that there are lies, there are deception, there are things that are being hidden, you're making yourself sick. So for some of you, these health issues are causing because you are just so worried that you're being lied to, that this is not what it is. This is not the star, the happiness, the things that you built with this person. But they're pointing out the shadows. There are things shadows, things you're not. Yes. Okay. So we have the Lamante. This is the male lover. He's serenading. He's singing. No one's there. Because some of you are so frustrated. You're like, I just don't think I can deal with this anymore. And then you have the Donna di Seversio. This is the helper. The helper, you know, the female servant. Someone that runs errands, someone does housework, but you can always count on them. So it's just kind of like also holding like this white towel. So for some of you, you're ready to throw in the towel. But then you have Bambino, new beginning. So again, this is the card that was talking about what it is that you are unaware of. You are unaware that he is going to be shedding light on this situation and transform this situation so that the two of you, he's going to be expressing his love. And the two of you will have a new beginning together. But you just don't know that yet. You will, though, in September. So hang in there, Gemini. Focus on some positivity. Focus on things that are going to turn your health around. If you need, go get some energy healing, some energy work. That will help all of you. So things are going to get better. Things are going to look up. So I do wish you all an amazing month filled with a lot of love, joy, and blessings.